Left off, she was talking about how tonight was going to be her night and not her brother's, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to identify those of us being matched. Not only are we younger than all the others, but we also float along in beautiful dresses and tailored suits while our parents and older siblings walk around in plain clothes, a background against which we bloom. The city officials smile proudly at us, and my heart swells as we enter the rotunda. A rotunda is kind of like a main gathering space, so usually it's got like a high domed ceiling. It's usually pretty fancy, like a fancy lobby, right? In addition to Xander, who waves goodbye to me as he crosses the room to his seating area, I see another girl I know named Leah. She picked the bright red dress. It's a good choice for her, because she's beautiful enough that standing out works in her favor. She looks worried, however, and she keeps twisting her artifact, a jeweled red bracelet. I'm a little surprised to see Leah there. I would have picked her for a single. Notice single is also capitalized like a proper noun, so what do you think that means? If she says I would have picked her for a single, what do you think that means? Yep, like she wouldn't be matched, so she chose to be single. But she's here, so she will be getting matched. Look at this china, my father says as we find our place at the banquet tables. It reminds me of the Wedgwood pieces we found last year. My mother looks at me and rolls her eyes in amusement. Even at the match banquet, my father can't stop himself from noticing these things. My father spends months working in old neighborhoods that are being restored and turned into new boroughs for public use. He sifts through the relics of a society that is not as far in the past as it seems. Right now, for example, he's working on a particularly interesting restoration project, an old library. He sorts out the things the society has marked as valuable from the things that are not. But then I have to laugh because my mother can't help but comment on the flowers, since they fall in her area of expertise as an arboretum worker. Oh, Kasia, look at the centerpieces. Lilies. She squeezes my hand. So we know now that her dad works with like historical artifacts, so historical items, right? And what does her mom work with? Flowers and plants. Huh? Yeah, very different fields, right? Please be seated, an official tells us from the podium. Dinner is about to be served. It is almost comical how quickly we all take our seats, because we might admire the china and the flowers, and we might be here for our matches, but we also cannot wait to taste the food. They say this dinner is always wasted on the matchees, a jovial-looking man sitting across from us says, smiling around our table. So excited they can't eat a bite. And it's true. One of the girls sitting further down the table wearing a pink dress stares at her plate, touching nothing. I don't seem to have this problem, however. Though I don't gorge myself, I can eat some of everything. The roasted vegetables, the savory meat, the crisp greens and creamy cheese, the warm, light bread. The meal seems like a dance, as though this is a ball as well as a banquet. The waiters slide the plates in front of us with graceful hands, the food wearing herbs and garnishes as dressed up as we are. We lift the white napkins, the silver forks, the shining crystal goblets as if in time to music. My father smiles happily as a server sets a piece of chocolate cake with fresh cream before him at the end of the meal. Wonderful, he whispers, so softly that only my mother and I can hear him. My mother laughs a little at him, teasing him, and he reaches for her hand. I understand his enthusiasm when I take a bite of the cake, which is rich but not overwhelming, deep and dark and flavorful. It is the best thing I have eaten since the traditional dinner at the winter holiday months ago. I wish Bram could have some cake, and for a minute I think about saving some of mine for him. But there's no way to take it back to him. It wouldn't fit in my compact. It would be bad form to hide it away in my mother's purse, even if she would agree. And she won't. My mother doesn't break the rules. So she says her mother wouldn't break the rules. What rule would she be breaking? You don't take food from the banquet. So you can't take any leftovers home with you. What do you do if you're at a restaurant and you don't finish your meal?
Take it home.
Take it home, right?
Yeah.
But at least in this case, at the banquet, that's not allowed. Seems like a weird rule, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I can't save it for later. It's now or never. I have just popped the last bite in my mouth when the announcer says, "We are ready to announce the matches." I swallow in surprise, and for a second, I feel an unexpected surge of anger. I didn't get to savor my last bite of cake. Sorry. Leah Abbey. Leah twists her bracelet furiously as she stands, waiting to see the face flash on the screen. She is careful to hold her hands low, though, so that the boy seeing her in another city hall somewhere will only see the beautiful blonde girl and not her worried hands, twisting and turning that bracelet. It is strange how we hold on to the pieces of the past while we wait for our futures. There is a system, of course, to the matching. In city halls across the country, all filled with people, the matches are announced in alphabetical order according to the girls' last names. I feel slightly sorry for the boys, who have no idea when their names will be called, when they must stand for the girls in other city halls to receive them as matches. Since my last name is Reyes, I will be somewhere at the end of the middle, the beginning of the end. The screen flashes with the face of a boy, blond and handsome. He smiles as he sees Leah's face on the screen where he is, and she smiles too. "Joseph Peterson," the announcer says. "Leah Abbey, you have been matched with Joseph Peterson." So you catch that? The people they're being matched with aren't even in their city hall. So these are people that they've never met before.
That was.
How awkward would that be?
What's his name?
Xander?
Yeah.
Well, she says that they're friends. And she says whoever receives him as a match will be lucky. The hostess presiding over the banquet brings Leah a small silver box. The same thing happens to Joseph Peterson on the screen. When Leah sits down, she looks at the silver box longingly, as though she wishes she could open it right away. I don't blame her. Inside the box is a microcard with background information about her match. We all receive them. Later, the boxes will be used to hold the rings for the marriage contract. The screen flashes back to the default picture, a boy and a girl smiling at each other, with glimmering lights and a white-coated official in the background. Although the society times the matching to be as efficient as possible, there are still moments when the screen goes back to this picture, which means that we all wait while something happens somewhere else. It's so complicated, the matching, and I am again reminded of the intricate steps of the dances they used to do long ago. This dance, however, is one that the society alone can choreograph now. The picture shimmers away. The announcer calls another name, another girl stands up. Soon more and more people at the banquet will have little silver boxes. Some people set them on the white tablecloths in front of them, but most hold the boxes carefully, unwilling to let their futures out of their hands so soon after receiving them. I don't see any other girls wearing the green dress. I don't mind. I like the idea that for one night, I don't look like everyone else. I wait, holding my compact in one hand and my mother's hand in the other. Her palm feels sweaty. For the first time, I realize that she and my father are nervous too. Kasia Maria Reyes. It is my turn. I stand up, letting go of my mother's hand, and turn toward the screen. I feel my heart pounding, and I'm tempted to twist my hands the way Leah did, but I hold perfectly still with my chin up and my eyes on the screen. I watch and wait, determined that the girl my match will see on the screen in his city hall somewhere out there in society will be poised and calm and lovely, the very best image of Kasia Maria Reyes that I can present. But nothing happens. I stand and look at the screen, and as the seconds go by, it is all I can do to stay still, all I can do to keep smiling. Whispers start around me. Out of the corner of my eye, I see my mother move her hand as if to take mine again, but then she pulls it back. A girl in a green dress stands, waiting, her heart pounding. Me. The screen is dark, and it stays dark. That can only mean one thing.
Ooh.
End of